Hey guys, welcome to the third part of What If Tanjiro Could Use Hamon. Last time we left off after the events of the Mount Natagumo arc and Rengoku's tragic death during the Mugen Train arc. Now that everyone is caught up, let's begin. After Tanjiro receives his replacement sword, he is sent on a few basic missions killing demons and honing his Hamon and breathing techniques. One day, he hears a commotion outside the butterfly estate, and investigates it, to find Uzue Tenjin, kidnapping a few of the helper girls and Aoi. Seeing this, he would attack Tenjin, making him drop a few of the girls, demanding to know what he is doing with Tenjin, explaining that he needs a few girls to go with him on a mission. Tanjiro would then explain that the girls are not core members and Aoi doest fight demons, so Tenjin releases the girls except Aoi, until Tanjiro and his team volunteer to go instead. When they arrive at the red light district, they are plastered with makeup and dress up as girls, being given to different houses where his wives went missing. Everything would go the same until Tanjiro would engage Upper Moon 6 Daki, using sun breathing to overwhelm her. However, this time, Tanjiro would manage to behead her by infusing Hamon into his attack, spreading it throughout her body, disintegrating every last trace of her, forcing her brother to exit her body early. With the remains of sun breathing and Hamon in Tanjiro managed to defend himself from the enraged Upper Moon for a while, even managing to land a few hits. Spreading Hamon throughout his body, however, Gyutaro simply cut off the infected limbs, preventing any damage to his head. Because of this, Tanjiro couldn't beat the Upper Moon and started to run out of breath, due to the strain of sun breathing and Hamon in combination. Collapsing to the ground, desperately trying to force oxygen into his lungs so he could continue fighting. Just before Gyutaro could finish him off, he is kicked in the head and sent flying by Nezuko. Enraged even more, Gyutaro would charge at Nezuko, dismembering her, sending her limbs in opposite directions. While he was mocking her for being weak, Nezuko would rapidly regenerate her limbs, entering her full form, ruthlessly attacking Gyutaro, managing to get some solid hits on him, burning him with her blood demon art, and kicking through a building. While Gyutaro was down, Nezuko would notice a woman with a cut, and due to being in her full form for the first time, she couldn't hold back her hunger for blood, charging at her. Luckily, Tanjiro woke up in time to stop her, holding her back with his sword in her mouth. Due to his injuries, he is unable to fully restrain her, as she resisted, slashing at his face and jumping through a roof. While this was happening, Gyutaro would recover, charging towards the two to kill them while they were unable to defend themselves. Luckily Tenjin Uzue would arrive, slicing off his arms, engaging him instead, with the help of Inosuke and Zenitsu. While the others are fighting, Tanjiro sings a lullaby to Nezuko, reminding her of their mother, making her cry and revert to her small form, sleeping. With Nezuko now under control, Tanjiro rushed over to the others, to join in the fight. However, he is shocked to find the others beaten, with Tenjin Uzue dying from poison. Zenitsu buried in the rubble of a burning building with broken legs and Inosuke bleeding out with a hole where his heart would have been. Seeing this, Tanjiro would attempt to fight Gyutaro, however due to his injuries and uncontrolled breathing, Tanjiro is unable to use Hamon or sun breathing, so is forced to use water breathing, leading to him getting overwhelmed, leaving an opening for Gyutaro to slam his sickle into Tanjiro's eye. However, Uzue Tenjin intercepts it at the last second, engaging the Upper Moon. Tenjin, still skilled with one hand at using his blades, declares to a stunned Tanjiro that he can now use his musical score technique and that they will win. Gyutaro sends a giant wave of blood blades to kill Tenjin, but the Sound Hashira uses his enhanced hearing to see the attack as a song he can read, skillfully destroying the flying blades with his sound breathing and bombs. Tenjin reaches the upper rank and slams down his swords in the ground, narrowly missing him. Gyutaro realizes that he turned his rotating circular slashes into a song he can deflect. Intensely angered, he did so with one arm, The two clash head-on in a giant explosion and continue to attack each other, hurling themselves across the burning city doing so. They repeatedly trade violent blows across the district, speeding up while doing so and attacking so viciously, the city is engulfed in explosions and blood. With his Hinakami Kagura, Tanjiro catches up to the two but realizes that Tenjin will reach his limit first, and he steels himself to be ready and decapitate Gyutaro. The upper rank stabs the sound Hashira in the stomach and slashes upwards, cutting Tenjin's left eye in half. The Hashira ignores the pain and stabs Gyutaro in the stomach, holding him in place as the two hurtle across the city. Tanjiro leaps up from behind and lunges towards them. Gyutaro mocks Tanjiro for being too slow and stabs him in the jaw, saying he is still a loser despite Tenjin's assistance and he will eventually die from the poison. Tanjiro fights the pain and successfully brings his blade down on his neck. Using the last remains for his power, Tanjiro forces himself to fight even harder, the scar on his head becoming a fiery mark. With his new strength, he cuts deeper into Upper Six's neck, who curses himself for being decapitated by a brat like him. Gyutaro reassures himself that he can survive as long as Daki's head still remains, however he is swiftly reminded that Daki is dead, as his head is sliced off, and begins to disintegrate. Not wanting to go out alone, Gyutaro tries to summon another wave of rotating circular slashes. With the poison affecting him, Tanjiro's vision blurs and his hearing weakens, and he fails to hear Tenjin warning him that the battle isn't over. Tanjiro attempts to use Hamon to eject the poison from his bloodstream and close his wounds, however his breathing is too sporadic to use Hamon. Uzue Tenjin desperately urges him to run but Gyutaro's body suddenly erupts into a giant explosion of blood blades, catching the demon slayers in the epicenter and devastating the light district. With her box thrown in the air, Nezuko emerges and uses her blood demon art to burn the blades away, saving everyone. After a while, Tanjiro regains consciousness to see Nezuko beside him, and turns around to see what remains of the light district around them, now a pile of burned rubble and debris. She pushes her head to his side, as he realizes that she had saved him from the poison. He quickly wonders about the whereabouts of the others. When he tries to stand, his legs immediately give out. He suddenly hears Zenitsu call out. At this, Nezuko carries Tanjiro on her back to take him to help. Zenitsu, now awake and panicking over the state of his injured body, sees his friend and worriedly asks if his legs are broken. When Tanjiro assures him he is more or less fine, Zenitsu informs him that Inosuke's heartbeat is getting fainter. Seeing his unconscious body, Tanjiro quickly assesses that the poison needs to be neutralized. He tries to think that sunlight could work to save him, but the moon's shine quickly shuts down his idea. He thinks about sending a crow to inform Shinobu but worries it would be too late. He then decides to use forced ripple breathing to neutralize the poison, however suddenly, Nezuko touches Inosuke's chest and engulfs his body in her fire. To his amazement, Tanjiro sees the poison being burned away. Inosuke awakens and asks for something to eat, causing Tanjiro to cry and hug him in relief, much to his friend's bewilderment. Elsewhere, Suma cries out over Tenjin's waning life, unable to stop the poison affecting him with their antidote. Makio and Hinatsuru sit beside him in shock, seeing their husband dying. Tenjin tries to give them his last words but is drowned out by Suma's loud wailing, causing Makio to angrily scold her and for Hinatsuru to yell at the two to be quiet. Now annoyed, Tenjin wonders if he will ever say his last words, just as Nezuko approaches them. She then touches Tenjin's arm and surrounds his body in her blood demon ARTS fire, causing his wives to be intensely startled at the sight. Suma grabs Nezuko and furiously reprimands her for cremating him too early. Now healed, the Hashira rises and is relieved to feel the poison no longer inside him, causing the three girls to throw themselves onto him in utter relief. As they cry, he apologizes for worrying them. Tanjiro answers that Nezuko's blood demon art had burned the poison away, though he urges Tenjin to stay still. Tenjin notes that he himself needs to be still with his wounds. Tanjiro then uses forced ripple breathing, gut-punching Uzue with his little finger raised, reaching the diaphragm, making Uzue Tenjin momentarily lose his breath and be in agony. However, in that moment, Uzue is also able to momentarily produce the ripple, healing his wounds, such as his left eye and cuts, however is unable to heal his eye to perfection or regrow his hand. Tanjiro then does the same to Zenitsu, healing his broken legs. While Tanjiro and the others are hugging, happy to have survived, the snake pillar Abanai Iguro arrives late, commending Uzue for defeating the upper rank 6 demon, sarcastically offering his praises over the feat. Iguro then asks what he plans to do next now that he is half blind in one eye and missing a hand, wondering if he can recover to return to his duty. Hearing this, Tenjin announces that he will retire from being a Hashira, believing that Kigaya will accept his choice. Abanai angrily refuses to listen to his wish, retorting that too many new demon slayers are dying without reaching their potential and claiming that having someone as uninspiring as you is still better than nothing. Unsatisfied with his decision, he urges the sound Hashira to battle till he dies, however Tenjin ignores him and retorts his earlier statement, stating that the young guy you hate is reaching his potential. Hearing this, Abanai becomes stunned, unable to believe that Tanjiro had survived the immense battle. Okay guys, this is the end of the third part of What If Tanjiro Could Use Hamon. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like and commenting what you enjoyed about this video and subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload, as chances are, if you liked this video, you will probably like my other ones. With that out the way, this is Demonic Saiyan saying bye.